Ahoy, 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 Polloy, and welcome to the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast. In this podcast, we look at the local music scene here in the Susquehanna Valleys, from Danville down to Northumberland, up to Williamsport, Lock Haven State College, back down to Lewisburg, Selinsgrove, and Sunbury. We have a thriving local music community, and we are going to delve a little deeper into some of the artists and bands that make this area one of the hot music spots in the state and country. So again, welcome to the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast. Hey, we're back on the Rec Room Radio Hour, and I have in my presence, in my midst, two exquisitely great songwriters. Michael J. Miller from Celtic Wood Wire, and the phenomenal, the legendary Jim Colbert from, you don't have a band, do you?
I do not.
Oh, well, we'll have to fix that.
At most, sometimes a duo, but no, yeah, for the most part, no.
Jim Colbert is a legend over in the State College Bellefonte area. He hosts a number of songwriter workshops, songwriter open mics, and so we are so pleased to have Jim here. Michael J. Miller is the lead guitarist, the lead vocalist, the lead songwriter for Celtic Wood Wire. And as you well know, this Celtic Wood Wire has been well, both of these gents have been phenomenal friends of the show. They were both charter members of the Rec Room Radio Hour album collection, having sent their stuff over to us. So without further ado, let's get to know these two guys. And we're interviewing them because this Friday at the Backhouse Cafe, they're going to be part of the second songwriter showcase that we've hosted there. Missing from our little confab here is Leo Armbruster, who we're going to record and interview later on. So without further ado, gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome to the big broadcast. So let's go back to the Zygote era. So Mike, do you prefer Michael?
I'm flexible.
Michael.
I don't have a preference.
Okay. Michael.
Legally, it's
Okay.
Michael. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. In certain states, though, it's not Michael. It's Fred. So tell us, where did the pre zygote Michael J. Miller start?
The pre-Michael J. Miller. I guess you'd have to put that with my mother and father.
Well, where are you from?
I'm from. I was born in the Los Angeles County area, and I've been a Pennsylvanian though since 1990. We got married here in '76. Moved back to California, where I could work with my father. And then after 4 years, that didn't really work out, so I moved back to Pennsylvania. I've been here since '83 in PA.
So I can't do public math without taking my shoes off.
Yeah.
That's how many years have you been in Pennsylvania?
Longer than I was a Californian.
Okay, so you're a native Pennsylvania by default then.
Yeah.
Okay,
basically.
we'll take that. We'll take
Yeah.
that. Not that it matters, but so how does being from California influence your songwriting now, or does it? I mean,
Well, currently I'm with a Celtic band, Celtic Wood Wires. That's plural, and that's my focus to try to. And I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I get started. There's not a writer out there that doesn't know that, and you just don't know what you're doing. And so I throw a bunch of fragments in a file called The Workshop. And I have another group of files called Voice Memos, and I record melodies with the voice memo function of my phone. And whenever I'm walking or hiking and just a group of words, a concept, a phrase come to me. I turn the little microphone on in my notes and I record it in workshop.
But you were born in Los Angeles.
I was.
That whole L.A. West Coast kind of Topanga Valley kind of vibe or something. Does that kind of ripple to you now, or is it, have you been entrenched so long in Pennsylvania that?
No,
Yeah.
no. I actually started out with popular music. I have 3 older siblings, half siblings, and that watched us, me and my little brother.
Mm-hmm.
When Mom was away babysitting, Mom was a religious person, and she did not want any rock and roll in her house. She wanted nothing but Johnny Cash, Jim Reeves, Patsy Cline, and the like, classic country. So they would get
none
out
of that
all
none of that devil rock and roll music, but Johnny
Exactly.
Cash was okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we
Never
as long
mind.
as-
Never mind. Never
But you
mind.
know what? That's pretty common with people that are fans of country music. They say, "Wow, we like that good, clean country music," and then they'll rattle off, like Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash. It's like, wait a minute, Hag served real time.
Yeah, you
But
did.
I'm sorry, we're just free
So
form, man.
that was the my genesis, seeing all those 45s laying out, and my brothers and just laying out, the purple Capitol Records label and the Sun Records label just sitting out, and they're just going through 45 after 45, having a little 45 party
All right.
while Mom was gone. So yeah, that's what started it, and because of the rock and roll influence, it was really easy for me to get involved with the Beatles. And my sister-in-law had given me 3 Beatle albums before they played Ed Sullivan. One of them was a VJ import, and why? Because my brother was an Elvis guy. You can't have an Elvis guy and a Beatles guy. You can like them separately, but not at the same time. So those records had to go. And she gave them to me, and it was fortuitous, and that's what happened.
So Jim, you are born and bred Pennsylvania?
Indeed. My wife says I shouldn't use the phrase grew up too strictly, as she thinks the growing up part hasn't really occurred yet. But grew up in Johnstown in western Pennsylvania, and have been in the state. I live in Bellefonte now, but have been in the State College of Bellefonte area since about 1988.
Okay.
So other than a really short sojourn in Florida, lifelong Pennsylvanian here.
All right. And you guys hadn't met until what? This past June, wasn't it? When
State
they-
College.
Yeah, State College.
Yep,
Yeah.
During part of the Theater and Dance Fest. So
Yeah,
the
right.
Songwriters Showcase.
Yeah, which you didn't participate in, but you were there supporting. So
I enjoyed it.
yeah, I did too. Except, like I said, I was the thorn between 2 roses.
Right.
But anyhow, so and now I know that growing up in central Pennsylvania has influenced your songwriting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I bought a guitar. I had not really played any instruments my entire life, and at 39, I bought a guitar with the intention of I wanted to write songs, and what I particularly love is there's a quote by Andrew Wyeth that I'm paraphrasing it a bit, but sometimes we're so busy looking for inspiration overhead that we're trampling it underfoot, right? And to me, I could write about Pennsylvania, about the land, about the people, the industry, my hometown. If that was all I ever wrote about, I would be fine with that. But I just really find a lot of inspiration in our area, in our state, in the Commonwealth in general.
Yeah. 2 things about you both, Michael and Jim, is that you do have a big historic context to your songs. Boattail Riviera for you, one that you're working on, and I'm gonna.
Old Tom Bailey.
Thank you, which is like so new that it hasn't been. You've only performed it once in
Once.
public last night.
Last
Yeah,
night.
and it was very good. Except I couldn't remember the damn name of the song. But both of those are very, they're both entrenched in history. So how much does either your personal history or the history of the area influence your songwriting?
Well, I was fortunate enough to major in history at Bucknell. I also did a minor in imaginative writing, which is part of the English department. And I focused on poetry and writing poetry rather than fiction. And I just was very fortunate to have experienced that. But it's given me a perspective studying modern history, 18th century intellectual history, the Enlightenment era, and so forth. Modern history is complex. You have concepts like the Holocaust, which I studied extensively, but it also put a big dent in my soul, knowing that human beings were capable of that. So I write about things like that. I write about my studies in genealogy. Old Tom Bailey was my great grandfather.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that song.
Okay, he was the first elected sheriff of Beltrami County in Minnesota, and he was also the chief of police of Bemidji, which is the county seat of Beltrami, and he was also...
Well, there's two good rhymes.
Yeah.
Lucky there.
Yeah. And he was the chief of police of Little Falls, Minnesota. In days as wild as the North, as the song goes. And so he had his hands full most of his working life, and he passed in 1923, and he was venerated in his town as being an exemplary lawman.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And this is your
great-great-grandfather.
great-great-grandfather.
Yes.
Wow.
On my father's side.
So you've immortalized him in a song.
I have. Somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm,
No better than his great-great-grandson to do it.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
so would you regale us with Old Tom Bailey?
Yes. I
All
will.
right. Cool. This was Michael J. Miller with a song about his great-great-grandfather, Old Tom Bailey.
Oh, Tom Bailey was as true as they come. He never told a lie. He never sassed his mom. Upholding the law in the upper Midwest, with a sidearm on his hip and a badge on his chest. His parents came from Belfast to North America. Blacksmithing and lumberjack is how he earned his pay. He came to the USA from old Ontario. earthly record book was closed. The whole town showed up, not one was indisposed. In line behind the carriage, its memory to embrace, they followed the procession to its final resting place. Old Tom Daly was as true as they come. He never told a lie, and he never sassed his mom. A poet in the law in the upper Midwest, with a sidearm on his hip and a badge on his chest.
Great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
That's a very singable, sing-along chorus. It was everything I could do to hold back from singing along with that. That's really good. So, so the research for that. I mean, how did? Obviously, with the internet, it's pretty, it's easier. But he's not a well-known public figure. I
No.
mean, how much research did you have to do for that?
I stumbled on in my genealogical research, that's family history. I stumbled across a book that was published in Beltrami County called A Century of Honor, and that is has about a 4 or 5 page spread on Thomas Bailey. He was the first elected sheriff, the second sheriff overall in the county, but he was the first one elected, and he was there from 1903 or 4 to 1909. He was the sheriff during those years. And the doll murders were sensationalized in that area, and they caught the guys. But basically, that's where a lot of that came from. There's a line in there from his obituary about the earthly record book was in his obituary. So they deified him, in the press
And
too.
they knew how to write an obituary.
Yes,
back
they
then.
did. Yes, they did. No form.
You don't get that kind of stuff anymore. Pretty much when you die now, it's just like, he lived, he died. There's no flowery words. So.
Fill out this form.
I know.
Yeah.
So when your great-great-grandson writes a song about you, there's not going to be that kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. I mean, and so that's kind of like now will probably become like a family heirloom. I mean, seriously. I mean, seriously. I mean, that's, how many families have songs written about their ancestors? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I expect it to be like one of those anonymous songs like Jesse James. Nobody knows who wrote it. Came out of the 1870s after the Civil War. And,
In 2123, it'll be in the public domain.
yeah.
So somebody will probably pick it up. So, so let's just keep on the theme of history then.
Sure.
So, you had said that being from central Pennsylvania in this area, you were born in Johnstown, right?
Right.
How about the history there? I mean,
Yeah, and that's so basically it's interesting. My friend Tim Craven. Tim is maybe 6 or 7 years older than me, right? And he grew up further west in I believe in McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania, right? So we were talking one time, and he has a lot of similar Pennsylvania themed material, right? We're both Milltown kids, and part of it, what we noticed is like his generation was the last to actually have the steel mills as a viable career option, and by the time 6 or 7 years later, that was no longer an option for me, and but there was all these growing up. I mean, my entire life, it's like the entire downtown Johnstown is just circled around by all these huge brick 2-story buildings where the mills were. So it just kind of always left an impression on me as far as, between floods. And there's usually not good news coming out of Johnstown, but, between floods and, unemployment rates. And I think it's just, you could make a career out of writing just songs about Johnstown, honestly. I don't know that anyone want to hear them or listen to them, but you could do it.
but I mean, that's with a town like that in an area, and not to have to really kind of tread lightly on this. I mean, a lot of industries in this area, from Johnstown to Altoona to Williamsport, a lot of the the legacy industries kind of boom and then they die.
Yeah,
It's almost
right.
like a life. You can like trace the life of
Railroad, lumber.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Even something is, like the landmark structures in a town. They kind of come and they go, either just left to rot or they are destroyed by something. Even you can even find inspiration like with structures of
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I think you have a song about something akin to that, don't you?
I have a number of them, but
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
So
But there's one in particular that we've talked about.
yeah, so I have a song called "It Took Hands," and this was actually about a series of barn fires that took place not far from Johnstown, and this was so I have a friend Curtis Rockwell is a wonderful luthier. Lives near Huntington, and he had he's so by his own admission he's not a songwriter. He's a fantastic luthier, fantastic guitar player. By his own admission, not a songwriter, but he's been really good through the years about some of my favorite songs have been prompts from him. You know what you ought to do? That songwriters cursing or curse or blessing is hearing. You know what you ought to do. But
And then when you do it, they're not happy with it. It's like,
I
yeah.
could have done that better. That wasn't quite what I was thinking of.
I'm more cynical than you are, Jim.
So it started out as about the series of barn fires. It was actually arson from a volunteer fireman that was doing it, and it was such a. I really have like what I consider a short story mentality, right? That having the full scope of all the fires was just a little too much, and it was overwhelming. So I narrowed it down to thinking about one barn and the impact that might have had, the loss of this might have had on a particular family, as a historic structure. So that's kind of where that one came from.
Because barns, we drive around and think, barns, most of them, sadly are falling down, or they have red man painted on the side, or they've been repurposed into event center.
Right.
But a barn was the life and breath of a farm. That's, so something like that to have happened, it was probably devastating.
Yeah, and it's funny because I start to retire this song sometimes, and inevitably it becomes it's like, wow, that just happened again, and wherever.
Yeah.
So
well, I hope you don't retire that song anytime soon. Would you like to bring it out of retirement?
I would. I think at this point it is. I think it's going to be what I consider a set list staple.
Yeah,
So.
and just from the first time I heard you play this song was at Avenue 209 Coffee in Lock Haven.
Right.
And immediately, it just hit me I said, that is an exquisitely written song, and it really, really hit you. So, and I know I featured it on the show a couple times as well. So without further ado, this is Jim Colbert with It Took Hands.
This faded barn's been standing since the war to end all wars, but the fresh-faced kid who milked the cows is marching home no more. That mail pouch signs a specter from generations past, a sulfur smell, a tiny spark, it fades away so fast. It took hands to build this barn, to raise it from the ground. 1,000 planks and boards, but one match to burn it down. Well, the wood was checked and splintered from winter's ice and snows. Still it offered sanctuary from the wind and rain and cold.
Summer's heat had worn the pine to a faded soft and gray, but in the twinkle of a match flare, that history's burned away. And it took faith to build this barn, a promise for the years. Now strangers hang their heads, they can't hold back their tears. Well, that barn was in the family since before we could recall, and it was built by faces we just know from photos on the wall. Well, it stood the Great Depression through droughts and hurricanes. Now it's just black logs and embers smoldering in the summer's rain. It took pride to build this barn, a dozen able men. Now it's only pale gray ashes that are scattering in the wind. They say from dust we come, to dust we shall return, and in between, if fortune smiles, we'll live and love and learn. Well, perhaps that's true of buildings too, perhaps they just don't mind to stand up for their families and to work hard in their time. And it takes love to raise this barn, to make it stand again. A village and a family where strangers bond as friends. Love rebuilds this barn, and love rebuilds us all. A testament to time, it's too powerful to fall. It took faith to build this, pride to build this, hands to build this barn.
All right.
Oh, thank
That
you.
is an absolutely beautiful song. Just so, and you said that was inspired, or a friend of yours kind of inspired you to write
Right,
that
a
song.
prompt for it, yeah.
Yeah.
And also at the time, so when I started writing songs, I was writing a lot of slow, sad songs. I like slow, sad songs, you know? And someone had mentioned the idea of like, well, you could write a slow, sad song with, you know, a promise of hope at the end. And I'm like, I like it. That changes everything.
That's kind of the antithesis of bluegrass music. Bluegrass music is like the happiest, fastest music, but it's the saddest songs. You know, the words to them. Your songs, you know, can be happy, but they, you know, these slow things. So you've been inspired. So you said prompted by your friend, but you know, who inspires you as a songwriter?
Well, as a songwriter, so the single singer-songwriter that I think most resonates with me, the late David Olney. Nashville, grew up in, I think, Rhode Island, but he and literally, I mean, he passed away on stage at the Florida, I forget, A1A festival. I forget the exact festival in Florida, but there was
Now,
just
what
something.
year? What time frame are we looking at here?
2-3 years ago.
No kidding.
Right, literally
Oh my
right
gosh.
before, on the cusp of the pandemic. So yeah, literally right before that. And there's just something about his writing that just always deeply resonated with me. Literally the first day I moved to State College in 1988, I went to a used record store called City Lights. It was a little downstairs, hole in the wall place, and I bought a Tom Russell vinyl record. I had $14 in my checking account. I bought a used Tom Russell record. I used David Olney record. I didn't know who either of these guys were. They just looked interesting. And a third one that I have no idea what it was at this point. But to this day, I listen to both of those, not the vinyl record so much anymore, but both of those artists just had a really profound influence on my writing. Olney's character studies, I mean, he was also a poet and wrote short stories and whatnot, but just very much an eye for detail, and also just, I don't know, turn of a phrase, just an amazing guy to me. So he was probably the one I would come up with, right offhand most. Also been influenced a lot recently, Ian Matthews, former singer of Fairport Convention. One of the best voices in folk music to me. Just and literally I saw him in September in Youngstown, Ohio. Still just the clarity of his voice. But he's an amazing songwriter, and a lot of people don't realize that about him because he's so associated with so many covers, like Seven Bridges Road, for instance.
Right. Well, he had a pop hit back in the
Shake It.
Shake It, yeah. I was probably like 2 weeks ago when I learned that was Ian Matthews. So that begs another conversation. Do you find that when you write, you can go from like the slow kind of thoughtful songs to something that's, I'd call it, kind of pop kind of songs. Is that something that's in your wheelhouse, or you?
I struggle with the pop feel, and I
Yeah.
think in part because I'm kind of a rudimentary folky guitar player.
Yeah.
But I would probably tend to think I write maybe in terms of like maybe 3/4 slower, sadder, finger picked, and then 1/4 more on the novelty side, which I'm trying to do a little bit more of because it seems to be what people like.
Well, we have featured Bearsuit Song on the show. I can't play that song without just. I just like that song. That is just a fun song.
It's a fun one to play.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. So Mr. Miller. So if we're talking about influences and songwriter influences, where you stand?
Well, early on, it was the folk scene of the 60s. Was very interested. I used to run home from school so I could watch the Pete Seeger show on PBS.
Oh, yeah.
On
Rainbow
my
Quest.
black and white TV that I had in my bedroom, And I saw people like Bob Dylan. I think I saw Ramblin' Jack Elliott. I think I saw Donovan. I'm not sure about Donovan, but it just a whole broad array. So I was taken. And my uncle loaned me a guitar when I was 13. And I had it all summer long. And he said, I want that guitar back. He was from Oklahoma. That's where my mom is from, Oklahoma. So they were steeped in this country and Western swing. And so I gave him the guitar back, and then there was a couple months in there that I didn't have a guitar. So I got one for Christmas that year, and that was a big deal. My first guitar, acoustic guitar, was a K. It's a training guitar. And I loved it, and I started playing folk songs on top of Old Smoky, She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain.
The old Mel Bay books?
Yeah, exactly. But then something happened to me. I heard in some talent show in middle school, I heard a girl with a guitar singing "Blowing in the Wind" by Bob Dylan. And that just blew open wide the doors. Bob Dylan was a huge influence for me. Songwriting and his words, especially later on, with Highway 61 and with Blonde on Blonde, just where he gets into some of this esoteric poetics. Anyway, that was huge. But now that I'm in Celtic Wood Wires, I'm trying to incorporate what I know and make it sound like Celtic. It's not easy because the strumming patterns are more 6/8 waltzes and 4/4, which is easy for me. but it's some of the other strumming patterns that are a little bit more challenging. But my influences there have been the late Dr. Mick Mahoney, and also some of the Sligo groups, like Dervish.
Help us out. Sligo.
Yeah, Sligo, Ireland.
Oh, okay.
It's in
That
the,
almost sounded like Zydeco, so I was like, wait a minute, we're really diverging on here.
yeah, it's in the western. I think it's directly across from Dublin, but on the west side of the island.
Clifton Oceaneer would be the Celtic
Yeah,
Zydeco guy.
a lot of Gaelic speakers there in that area, so it's Irish to the bone.
But now how many songs on the last Celtic Wood Wires album are yours? How many of those did you write on that album?
2. The title track, "Close the Back Door,"
Okay.
and that CD is still available if anybody is
Yes,
interested.
shameless plug.
Yeah, just go to the Celtic Wood and Wires Facebook page, or Celtic Wood and wires.com, and you can learn how to get one of those CDs.
Right. But on that CD are 2 of your songs.
Yeah.
One is the title track.
Yeah, "Close the Back Door," and also "Have a Little Drink," which
Yeah.
was a pandemic song. Mm-hmm. You can imagine. I retired in October of 2019. By the next year, I'm sitting around the living room in my underwear with nothing to do.
Hold on. There's a visual that we did not need.
Good thing about radio, right?
Yeah.
So I decided to join a wine club, and I will not.
And this is wine, W-I-N-E, not
Yes.
W-H-I.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Because if you're
Yeah.
sitting around in your underwear, you might be inclined to wine. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know that they deliver that wine to your door? And it's amazing. And what a country. So I joined this wine club and realized that I was drinking just a little bit more over lockdown than I had previously. And so that's where "Have a Little Drink" came from. Mm-hmm. That, I'm not espousing a life of dissipation. But sometimes
I'm trying to think what the couplet rhyme to that is. In that
sometimes
song.
we deal with a ton of aggravation.
Well, right, there you go. Now, but your original songs fit really well within the Celtic wheelhouse. It seems like.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, but when you started writing songs, do you think that your songs would have crossed genres from folk? I mean, now we're going to really digress into Celtic and folk and that. I mean, there's a thin line between both of them, I guess.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So, do you think that your songwriting has matured to the point that you can kind of jump, or is it jump genres, or?
Well, there's sort of a joke in Celtic bands that you can Celtify just about anything.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a tin flute, a fiddle, bouzouki,
Mm-hmm.
and a bowron, you can Celtify just about anything.
Yeah.
And
And for those that may not, the bouzouki is it's not a weapon or anything. It doesn't
Exactly.
fire
A
anything.
bouzouki is originally a Greek instrument with a rounded back. Well, the Irish got a hold of it, and they flattened out the back. They made it long scale with a 26-inch scale, and they tuned it differently. Where a Greek bouzouki has octave strings on the first 2 courses, the bottom end. The Celtic bouzouki has unison strings, and it's tuned a little differently. The Greek bouzouki is tuned like a mandolin, D, G, A, E, and the Irish bouzouki throws that E down a step, so it's G, D, A, D.
So, and then the Beltron, what was that? The
The bowron.
Balron. All right. So what is
Bowron.
that?
It's a percussive instrument.
Oh, okay.
And it's handheld.
Okay.
And our player is Carl Finnerty, and he does a pretty good job at that. He's learned a lot from. We went to Swannanoa in North Carolina last July, and we went through these seminars and classes and everything. So he learned a lot, and we all did that week, and it was great. I had the opportunity to sit with the great John Doyle, the bouzouki player and guitarist phenomenon, who's played with the likes of Liz Carroll at the White House and so forth. So I was very fortunate, and definitely out of my league, but I was treading water a couple days, but I made it through.
So, Jim, you started songwriting and guitar playing a little later in life then, correct?
Right. I was 39 when I bought my first guitar.
So the question is probably not applicable to you, but maybe it is. Has your songwriting matured? Do you feel like your songwriting has matured, improved since you started, even as an adult?
So when I started writing, it's kind of in this conundrum where I wish I had started playing earlier in life, where I had a lot more time to really devote to it, right? Lyrics. I mean, writing poetry, writing short stories, I've written plays. That has always come.
Hold on a minute. So you write poetry and you've written plays?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I used to actually run co-run a local playwriting workshopping group called Fourth Tuesday Playwrights in State College for a number of years with Charles Dumas and Pam Monk.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's good.
I didn't know that. I knew a lot about you, but I didn't know you wrote plays.
Wrote the libretto to a musical once too that was performed in New Jersey. Yes.
Well, Michael is what was your minor in? Not creative writing, but
imaginative writing.
Imaginative writing.
Creative writing.
And
I like that name. I like the label better.
Yeah, imaginative writing. My major was in unimaginative writing, but you used to write for the Sun Gazette and other periodicals or papers in the area.
Just two. The Sun Gazette, mainly lifestyles. I did one for business, but I tried to steer out of the political but just did lifestyles. And then I had a column in the West Branch Life magazine called Beer, Bread, and Wine, all things fermentation, and that's big, anything from sourdough bread to tempeh to beer to homemade wine, so forth.
Okay, so now that we've gone down that rabbit hole of it, I didn't realize. I knew that Michael was a writer, but Jim, I didn't know that you were. I knew you wrote poetry, but I didn't know that you did, plays and libretto. So I'm sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
Oh no,
kind of go down this rabbit hole.
So, I mean, as far as my writing, so I'm 39 years old. I'm writing songs and playing them in the bedroom for my cats, right? Learned a few chords, right? I think I know like 5 now, maybe. But I'm kind of at the point where I can either really concentrate on guitar, or I can really concentrate on more lyrics and songwriting in general, and that felt more comfortable to me. I'm like, 39 years old. I'm probably not going to be Tony Rice at this point, right? Neither is anybody else, but that's beside the point. So I do think when I first started writing, I want to say I was like really prolific with bad songs, as everyone is when they first start writing. So I think now I've kind of, if I look at it analytically, I've probably matured to the point where I don't write as much, but I keep a lot more of what I write. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I also think I played around a lot, early on, the first few years with alternate tunings, dadgad in particular, an open D. One of my favorite songwriters is Richard Schindel, and he would do a lot in dadgad. I think I was a little bit more adventurous because I didn't know what I was doing early on, but then I've kind of returned more to simpler stuff that really I think serves the song without trying to be jazzy or, beyond my means, for want of a better term.
So you had mentioned your primary kind of inspiration songwriter. It was
David Olney.
Did you ever get to meet him?
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah, I
What was that
didn't
like?
get to spend. Well, it was. He was just a really cool guy. I mean, I know that's kind of a very broad brushstroke, but what he was a very humble man, and also just I didn't really get to spend a lot of time talking about songwriting or whatnot with him, but he was very appreciative. One of his mindsets, something he said one time was that like, I do what I do, right? And this is major paraphrasing, but I do what I do. But if you like what I do, there's only one place to come get it, and that's from me.
Wow.
Right? But I was very good friends with his late booking agent, Harriet Kyriakis. I don't even remember how we started talking years ago. But whenever David would play at Godfrey Daniels, she would insist that I sit with her. So that was kind of my introduction to really spending some quality time with David. And it was, there was not, I mean, we did not spend a lot of time together. We'd email a few times a year or whatnot, but he was always very courteous and encouraging and polite. So one of my favorite CD inscriptions is on one of his, I think it's Through the Glass Darkly, Jim, thanks for doing my songs, David Olney.
Oh, wow.
So, because
Cool.
that was one of the, some of his were the first covers that I ever did when I finally got out to an open mic, encouraged by a friend of mine, Lee Westman,
That's great.
years back.
Now you got to Mike Miller. You got to sit in with some prominent Celtic players. What was that like? Getting to meet? Were they inspirations to you, or have you ever gotten to meet any of your songwriting or playing inspirations?
I don't think so. No,
No.
mainly through vinyl
Okay.
and later on through CD.
Yeah.
And their songbooks,
Yeah.
you know.
Who if you had the chance to sit down with a songwriter and even just chatting, who would it be?
Richard Thompson?
Ooh. Well, that's still possible. I mean, you picked
Yeah?
one that, yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to give it some thought, but he comes to mind.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
So
from Fairport
convention,
Convention.
yeah. And didn't Ian Matthews play in Fairport
He
Convention?
did, yes, very early on. Yep,
There you go. See, we have a connection here, and there's a connection between my inspiration and Ian Matthews, but we're not going into that. Well, great. Any parting shots? Any last words? The parting glass, or whatever the Irish song is. Any last words of wisdom, Mr. Miller?
Okay. You can catch a Celtic Wood Wires show at the Moon and Raven Public House on the 21st of January. And we also have a date in February and March 11th. I'm not sure of the February, but you can hear some pretty good Celtic
Did
music.
Finnerty put you up to this?
No. No. I'm just trying to stay in the band. That's all.
You're trying to. If you get a chance to go out and see Celtic Wood Wire anytime, they are a remarkable group of musicians, and I've known you guys for
Thank you.
probably about a little over a year and a half, or a little under a year and a half, excuse me. And I just watching you guys mature and grow as a unit, as a band, has just been remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are tight, and and your songwriting is inspirational as well.
Thank you.
I wish I could write catchy Celtic songs and folk songs as well as you do. So
I don't know what I'm doing. I already told
who
you.
does? Who does?
You put one foot in front of the other.
That's right. And you're just thankful that people stop and listen once in a while. Jim, any last words? Any words of wisdom from you?
Well,
my
I do
friend?
have a website, jimcolbertmusic.com. I'm trying to be better about updating sites on there. So I'm looking forward to sharing the stage at Backhouse on the 20th. I am starting a new, very informal series. My wife has a nonprofit theater company, Tempest Productions, and she has a new studio site in State College. I'm going to be the last Sunday of the month for at least 3 or 4 months. I'm going to try just an informal. I'll be playing like an hour and a half of whatever I want in Sunday afternoons at 2:00. Just as a chance to try out new stuff, but also revisit, things fall out of favor on the set list through the years, right? And looking through notebooks or your iPad, you see things like, why don't I play that anymore? I don't know, So it's going to be really informal and just a chance to do that. And also encourage, as we've talked about, I was 39 when I started doing this, so don't let anyone tell you you're too old to not be pursuing your dreams, right? Whether it's crafting a radio show or picking up a guitar, or I was actually just reading, I just posted this on my Facebook page, and I don't admit this to everyone, but we're in good company here. So I was a huge professional wrestling fan years ago, right? And there was a gentleman from Alabama. He was what would be considered a jobber. Like he would lose to the big talent, right? But Mike Jackson, he was an incredible technical wrestler. And I just saw a post that he's like 72 years old and he is still in the ring. So don't do what you want to do. Don't let any ageism affect that. So I want to thank you so much for having this interview.
Now, JimColbert.com, is it?
Jim Colbert Music.
JimColbertMusic.com.
Yes.
Now,
actually,
who does the graphics and all that stuff for you?
The golfer actually got on JimColbert.com years back and got that domain before I could do anything with it. And then never did anything with it for like a good 10 years. But
that's right. So. The old, he always wore the bucket hat. Jim Colbert. Yep. I remember him. You kind of look like him, too. Who does the graphics?
More so every year.
Who does all the graphic work for your website and your shows and that?
Well, so I've been a graphic designer for pretty much all my professional life. I teach graphic design now, and so that's always fun doing. I do a lot of. I kind of narrowed down my client list a lot a few years back, but I mostly do music-related design work or arts-related in some form or capacity, like Arts Festival in State College and. Tempest Productions, my own stuff, and just wrapped up a calendar design for Rod Picott, a Nashville songwriter. It's the first time I've had the chance to do that. So, it's a lot of fun.
Good. Well, we have been talking with Michael J. Miller from Celtic Wood Wires and Jim Colbert, who is a solo performer and mover and shaker in the State College in Bellefonte area. Along with Leo Armbruster, these guys are going to be at the Backhouse Cafe, and that's at 901 West 4th Street in Williamsport, Friday, the 20th of January, and it's going to be a songwriter showcase kind of in the round, and you'll probably hear some of these stories, but a whole lot more songs from these fine gentlemen. Again, on the 20th of January at the Backhouse Cafe, 901 West 4th Street in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. This is the small table concert series from the Rec Room Radio Hour. And again, thank you, Michael Miller, and thank you, Jim Colbert, for coming and chatting with us today. So, and back to your regularly scheduled programming, already in progress. Thank you so much for listening to the Rec Room Radio Hour podcast. Thank you for devoting a little bit of your time to learning about the diverse and eclectic music scene here in the central Pennsylvania Susquehanna Valleys. From Danville to Bloomsburg, down to Northumberland, up to Williamsport, Lock Haven, State College, back down to Lewisburg, Sunbury and Selinsgrove. We have a wide variety of local music artists, and we hope that you enjoy getting to know them a little bit. You can listen to the Rec Room Radio Hour each week on WXPIRadio.org. Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And while you're at WXPIRadio.org, make a contribution to help fund and keep our community radio station strong and vibrant. Until next time, don't fret, stay tuned, and play nice.